There's something powerful happening in the heart of Africa, a story the world can't look away from. Burkina Faso, a country often labeled as one of the poorest and most vulnerable on the continent, is now building its own military industry. We're not talking small-scale projects. We're talking about a multi-billion-dollar endeavor. And it's all happening under the leadership of Ibrahim Traoré, the young, determined soldier who has become a symbol of African pride and self-reliance. For decades, the story of African defense was one of dependency. Every bullet, every tank, every piece of armor came from outside the continent, often with strings attached. This created a cycle of reliance that kept nations beholden to foreign powers. But Traoré is tearing up that script. His vision is bold and unapologetic. If Africa wants to stand tall, it must build its own strength with its own hands. And that's exactly what he's doing. Deep inside Burkina Faso's newly built factories, a new sound is echoing, the sound of rebirth. Engineers, technicians, and soldiers are working side by side, assembling weapons, vehicles, and protective gear designed and produced entirely by Burkinabe hands. These aren't imported weapons anymore. They're the product of sheer national will. This transformation is incredibly powerful. For years, foreign countries supplied Africa's weapons while retaining control over how and when they were used. Imagine that feeling of helplessness, waiting for an outside power to grant you permission to defend your own home. Now, the sight of Burkinabe soldiers testing rifles and armored trucks made right here, on their own soil, feels like a second declaration of independence. It's a shift from asking for help to proving that Africa can and will take care of its own. What's truly stunning is the speed of this progress. Traoré didn't waste time with endless conferences or hollow promises. He acted. He brought together young engineers, local experts, and even traditional blacksmiths from rural areas who carry centuries of craftsmanship in their blood. Together, they started something revolutionary, blending modern technology with raw African resilience. But these factories are about so much more than war. They're about dignity, employment, and a renewed sense of national pride. Every job created is one less young person forced to leave home in search of opportunity. Every piece of equipment made locally strengthens the economy and builds confidence in what's possible when a people believes in itself. You can feel this new energy in the air, a contagious hope. People who once felt powerless are now part of something greater than themselves. You see soldiers walking taller, engineers smiling wider, and ordinary citizens talking with pride about their country, some for the very first time in years. This isn't just a defense movement, it's a psychological revolution. Of course, not everyone is cheering. Many foreign observers are shocked, some even alarmed. The idea of an African country like Burkina Faso becoming self-sufficient in military production threatens the old systems of control. For decades, those who sold weapons to Africa kept both the profits and the power. Now, that balance is shifting, and it's shifting fast. But Ibrahim Traoré has been clear. Burkina Faso's goal isn't aggression or domination, it's protection and pride. He knows what it feels like to depend on others, to be treated as if your country's safety must be outsourced. That's why he keeps repeating a simple but powerful idea. Sovereignty is not given, it's built. Watching this unfold feels like witnessing history. There's a raw, emotional beauty in seeing a small nation refuse to bow down and instead rise up with its own might. Those factories, the blueprints, the armored vehicles, they are more than just military assets. They are symbols of a generation declaring, we can do this ourselves. Some call it Africa's awakening. Others see it as a warning shot to the old world order. But for the people of Burkina Faso, it's deeply personal. It's about the right to dream, to create, to defend, and to live without fear or dependency. It's about mothers who no longer have to worry that foreign interests will decide their children's fate. It's about fathers who can finally tell their sons that their country is standing strong on its own 2 feet. And it's about young men and women who see in Traoré not just a leader, but a reflection of their own untapped courage. The true heart of this story isn't in the machinery or the billions being invested. It's in the hearts of the people who believe this change is real. When you talk to them, you feel it, that sense of belonging, of pride, of purpose. They're not just working for a paycheck, they're working for their place in history. And this story is beginning to ripple across the continent. Other African nations are watching closely. Leaders, analysts, and ordinary citizens from neighboring countries are all asking the same question. If Burkina Faso can do it, why can't we? This is exactly what Traoré wants. His dream extends beyond his nation's borders. He envisions an Africa that breaks the chains of dependency, an Africa that designs, builds, and protects with its own resources, its own knowledge, and its own unbreakable will. This is no small task. It takes incredible courage to challenge a global system that's been in place for centuries. But courage is one thing Traoré has never lacked. He speaks with conviction, acts with discipline, and leads by example. You can see the fire in his eyes when he talks about Burkina Faso's future. A future where Africans don't beg for respect, but command it through strength and unity. The truth is, this story is much bigger than just weapons. It's about a mindset. It's about an entire people deciding they are done being seen as weak or dependent. It's about standing up and saying, we are ready to build our own destiny. And whether the world likes it or not, that movement has already begun. From the bustling factory floors in Ouagadougou to the remote villages now supplying raw materials, everyone feels it, a wave of national rebirth. You can sense it in the way people talk, the way they walk, and the way they look toward the future. It's no longer just a dream. It's reality taking shape in steel, sweat, and determination. Ibrahim Traoré didn't just build factories, he built faith. Faith that Africa's future doesn't have to be borrowed, it can be built from within. Faith that young Africans can design, engineer, and lead. Faith that sovereignty isn't just a political term, but a lived, breathing experience. This is the new face of Burkina Faso, strong, determined, and fearless. A nation that once depended on others now shows the world what it means to stand tall on your own. And as the hum of machinery continues under the golden African sun, one thing is clear. This is not the end of a story. It's the beginning of a revolution that's just getting started. If you believe in this vision of a self-reliant Africa, if you admire leaders who turn courage into action, then show your support. Hit that like button, subscribe to join our community, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your voice matters. Thank you for watching.